Alright, hello everybody, Skyrim here, back again with another Diablo Immortal video update. Lo and behold, just as I reached 700 and started to try to piece together a video, I was recording it for a little while actually, and I was showing my process of going about doing things to raise my combat rating. Thank F, say for YouTube, thank F, that they finally got a clue. That is Blizzard. They finally got a clue. The good old the community manager had to come out of the woodwork yet again and do a little PR bit here with this little post on Reddit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a coverage on this too. If you haven't already seen it already, it was gonna make its rounds. I was thinking about doing a short, but nonetheless, here we go. Yeah, upcoming changes to combat requirement for Inferno V. All right. Unfortunately, this won't go into effect until the patch goes through, so we have to wait until, what is that, Wednesday or Thursday? So that's fine. That's better than the other scenario, because as I was piecing together some of my pieces and I started to craft with what little wisp that I had converted over, I used up all my unfortunately, I used up all my set pieces that I had, the mystery set items that I had saved up. I had about like 60 or so of them. So long story short, I had to put on a mishmash of pieces, and I was still way off of the dungeon requirement. And I was like, well, the legendary gear would only go up with my Paragon level, so that was only going to be very slight and incremental. So I was like, well, that's not going to help me, so it's going to have to all be set pieces. And like I said, I put on all the highest set pieces that I had crafted and acquired through that process, and I was still way under, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So yeah, anyway, let's get into this here. Inferno difficulties. Let's see, the combat rating requirement for Inferno V has been reduced from 45,665 to 44,765. And the requirement for Inferno V dungeons has been reduced from 46,115, which that one was insane when I went to the door to look at that, because I didn't look at it until recently. Once I finally hit 700, I'm like, wait a minute, let me go check like, you know, Mad King's Breach and see. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And so they reduced it now from that to 44,945. Thank F, right? Like, holy crap, they finally got a clue here, and they realized they had to do something. And I'm glad that they did this. Better late than never in this case, in this instance, but still, nonetheless, they should have realized that long before they rolled out the difficulties as they did. So I'm not entirely sure if their hand, I feel like their hand was forced. And again, anytime we see the community manager here come out and make any kind of post or statement like this, it's usually when their hands are forced. So yeah, nonetheless, it's a happy force of the hand for the benefit of all of us across the community. So hooray. We'll take this definitely as a win, because this was a bit ridiculous, and now that people have, the vast majority are breaking through 700 now, finding exactly how terribly wide the gap was in them doing this. They're going to make the adjustments accordingly here. So this is far more obtainable now. It's still a little rough, I will admit, even, you know, as a complete 100% free to play, is still a little rough, but it's far more attainable now. Especially that dungeon gap from the 46,115 to 44,945. That's a huge adjustment. That's a huge adjustment, and I don't even know why, honestly, it was that far to begin with. Now, let's see here. Developers note the previous values for Inferno V were higher than intended, so this reduction was made to bring them in line with other difficulties. So yeah, they scaled this, for whatever reason, they scaled Inferno 5 like off the charts compared to the other ones. So let's see, Helliquary bosses, of course, are also, let's see, combat rating required to fight various Helliquary bosses in Inferno 4 and 5 has been reduced. So they reduced those as well. The reduction brings it in line with the combat rating changes made to the difficulties overall. All right, new requirements are in bold. So let's see, it went from 42 to 41, 615. Actually, the most important one is the last one, Tormentor. Tormentor went from 45,665, has now been brought down to the base, the new base for Inferno 5 at the 44,765 combat rating. Good. Good. And it looks like, oh, they adjusted Inferno 5 raid bosses now too. That's even better. Not as much, but okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. They didn't adjust them as much as the other ones, but that's more incremental. The other ones were ridiculously stupid. The jumps on them were far greater than I think before, and now they're more incremental. Good. All right. Thank goodness. Now, is this going to be a normal thing to curb pre-farming, or was this a one-off error? That remains to be seen. Who knows with them, right? We can only, try and see how. I think they did it as, honestly, if they didn't do it, well, it's two ways. I think this is two ways. One, they screwed up, and that's pretty common with them. Two, it was inadvertently intended, and they just wanted to see up until the very point of where we are now. Obviously, we are breaking through that Paragon ceiling and seeing where everything's at, and like starting to get out the torches and pitchforks. So yeah, I think that was one of two ways, or maybe even a little bit of both. So I don't know. But yeah, thank goodness this came through, and of course, unfortunately, some of us will have to wait still until the update before we can fully immerse ourselves in Inferno 5 content. But nonetheless, it's way better waiting just for a couple days to be able to partake in that, as opposed to if they would not have done this, it would have been much longer. A lot of us would have still been in Inferno 4 all the way until probably like the 799 Paragon cap or whatever before being able to switch over. And by that point, the whales and dolphins and whales would have already been into Inferno 6, and the gap would still be there. The disparity across the player base would have still been there. So this is definitely a step in the right direction. So take these obviously as a win whenever we can get them in any shape or form. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about this whole situation. Let me refresh this really quickly, see if there's any more comments, because this was from a few minutes ago as of this recording. Let me see here. Okay, great. When I finally hit 46.1k combat rating. Yeah. That's about it. Okay, so there you go. That is the change. That is where we're at. And unfortunately for me as well, before this post even came out, when I was doing that video adjusting my combat rating, or trying to anyway, I panicked a little bit and I went and ran my gem search like I said I was going to. I said I was going to do another run. I had 40 crests and I ran another 10 stacks. So now I'm only down to 11 crests. Actually, no, wait, I had 40. Did I run 3? I forget. I might, you know what? I actually might have run 3 10 stack. I think I ran 3 10 crest runs. So now I only have 11. And the ones I want to use for the double drop mirror jewel that will be coming up here soon, I might use the purples. I'm gonna keep acquiring my orange crests again, but I burned a bunch, mind you. Granted, it just kind of forced my hand a little faster. I would have used them eventually, so I'm not in a bad way. This is what I was intending to do anyway, regardless of the fact. Let me just go ahead and go to the gem search, see where I'm at. I got the 1100 point. Well, actually, I had 1,000 points. And then I still have yet, we'll still be able to claim one more chest before this event ends on the 13th. This one will reset on Wednesday, so we'll be able to get another 100 points. So keep that in mind if you're keeping track here still, and you still need just that many more. I'll be able to squeeze out another crest out of it, so I'll get another crest back. So that's at least something better than nothing, right? But I managed to squeeze out one more polished jade, and I applied that to my 2 of 3, my baby 2-star blood-soaked jade, which I've had forever, and I finally turned it into another 3-star. So now, with the Gem Surge event, I made use out of everything. I turned my roiling into a 3 out of 5, and I turned my blood-soaked jade into a 3 out of 5. So I'm happy with those choices. That's the best I could do as a free-to-play. Like I said, I still had to use a fair amount of crest that I had saved up, so you don't have to go to the extent that I did, but this is what I did, and this is what I actually was planning on doing anyway for the blood-soaked jade in order to push that much, a little bit more resonance and a little bit more combat rating out of the whole shebang. So anyway, that's that, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, of course, about the whole situation from start to finish. Obviously, I mean, there's all kinds of things we could say, this, that, and the other thing, but more so along the lines of, what do you think? Was their hand forced, or was it a screw up on their part, or, you know, was this intentional and then they just panicked? Well, no, actually that would go into the hand forced. So yeah, was this a screw up on their part at the very outset, or was it their hand being forced and they had to make an adjustment? I'm kind of leaning towards the latter, unfortunately. I would not put it past them, again, like I said, it being a screw up on their part, but most times when the community manager has to come out of the woodwork and make his little PR posts, that's usually what happens, is they're trying to put out some fires. So, but anyway, until next time, stay safe out there in the real world on fire again, and see ya.